What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Letterboxd Catchup. Today we're going to review Manchester by the Sea, Fences, The Magnificent Seven, and Imperium. Alright guys, if you're new to Letterboxd Catchup, really all that is I go back throughout the previous month. I try to pick 3 or 4 movies on my Letterboxd for 2016. And I do a quick review on all 4 of them. So these are going to be just little quick 2-minute reviews for 4 movies. In this episode, we're going to be doing Manchester by the Sea, Fences, The Magnificent Seven, and Imperium. So let's get this thing started with Manchester by the Sea. So I just saw Manchester by the Sea last night. I'm a huge Casey Affleck fan. I think he is one of the most underrated actors today. This is an interesting story. It's about this guy. His name is Lee. I like that name. And Lee is divorced. He's a janitor. And this guy has just had a really rough run in his life. And what I like about this movie is they don't tell you immediately why he is kind of an empty shell. You don't find that out until, I'd say about the first fourth of the movie. But without getting into any spoiler talk, let's just say something really tragic and devastating happened. And so it really, like I said, just left this guy as just a shell. He just goes through the motions in life. He is kind of an alcoholic, picks fights constantly. And really that's what this movie is. This is the definition of a straight up drama. And you have fantastic performances as you would expect. And I love those movies that are set in the Northeast, especially Massachusetts. I just love those types of characters because they tell it like it is. They can be considered rude by some, but I just love how honest they are. And the accent's really cool too. The standout performance for me in this is Michelle Williams, who I think is highly underutilized. She's not in the movie as much as you would expect. So every time she is in the movie though, she draws so much attention. She's one of those actors that you can see so much behind her eyes. She emotes so much like passion and heartache and, sadness. And she just gives a fantastic performance. Now the problem I have with this movie is it really overstays its welcome. It's not like pulse pounding or tension filled. Like I said, it's a straight up drama and it takes a long time to get there to the end. So you are bored quite a bit, in my opinion. It's still a movie that I appreciate though for the great acting, for the characters. The main character, Lee, is a really interesting character. I'm not gonna take that away. But this is a movie that I'd constantly heard in circles as one of the best of the year. To me, I don't agree with that. I think there are better movies out there, but I still enjoyed it. I would definitely give it a humdrum. Now, the next movie we're gonna talk about is Fences. This is one that I really wanted to see just based on the trailer. One of the most powerful trailers I've seen all year. Right away, from that trailer, you're gonna get some amazing acting performances.
Hey, Pop, can I ask you a question? How come you ain't never liked me?
Like you? What law is there say I got to like you?
None.
All right then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day?
Yeah.
As long as you in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me.
Yes, sir.
You eat every day.
Yes, sir.
Got a roof over your head.
Yes, sir.
Got clothes on your back.
Yes, sir.
Why you think that is?
Because of you.
Hell, I know it's because of me. But why do you think that is?
Because you like me?
Like you.
Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, go ahead and give them the Oscars now. That's how great they are. And it's not just a quick 2-minute scene that makes you say, oh wow, these are great. No, Denzel actually has to go on for like 30 minutes in some of these scenes. And he keeps it interesting constantly. He is just such a great actor, and this movie is such a reminder of this. Plus, it's an interesting story because this takes place right around the Civil Rights era. Denzel Washington plays a character that has been through a lot in life. He is just a really battered, beaten down person, very cynical, very pessimistic about things, and that spills over onto his family. And he's not really a good guy without getting into any spoilers. But I have to mention, I love movies that right after you see it, if you see it with a group of people, not everybody's gonna have the same opinion on the situation, the characters. And that's exactly what happened with this movie. I saw it with my family, and after we walked out of the theater, 2 of us had a different opinion about Denzel Washington's character than the other 2. Some might see reasoning behind his actions in this movie, and then Some might think he is just the worst human being on the planet. So I would definitely give Fences a purchase worthy just for the acting alone. Just beautiful acting. And it's nice to be reminded how great our top tier actors are in Hollywood today, like Denzel Washington. Okay, next up, we're gonna do The Magnificent Seven. This is one of those that I was really curious about because it doesn't have the highest rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's still certified fresh. It's like 63% or something like that. But I do like a good Western. However, I am pretty picky with them. Unforgiven is one of my favorite films of all time, not just Westerns. So I was curious going into this one. Now this is a remake of the original Magnificent Seven, which I have never seen, so I really knew nothing about this story at all. And it is kind of an interesting story. You got this guy that comes into this small town and just wants to take over all the land, forcing everybody out. So at face value, that is kind of an interesting premise. And the first scene with Denzel Washington is the best scene in the movie, I think, when he comes into that saloon, and it really just sets up his character, how much of a badass this guy is. And so he takes it upon himself to really avenge this town and make the wrong things right and take on the villain of the movie, which is Peter Sarsgaard. There's my problem with the movie. Peter Sarsgaard, fantastic actor, but in this movie, I just didn't think there was enough to his character. If you have a weak villain in a movie, everything else will fall beneath it, I think. I wasn't impressed with him as a villain at all. I didn't have enough information there about him. Just to give you a perfect example, how a villain should be handled, Sexy Beast with Ben Kingsley. This guy was scary as hell without even putting a finger on anybody. That is a great villain. To me, Peter Sarsgaard didn't really deliver that. Plus, there's a lot of predictability in this movie. I can think of two scenes right away. As the scenes were playing out, I said, oh, I guarantee you that's gonna happen at the end of the scene. And sure enough, it did. And I don't really like that in a movie. It felt shallow to me, really. I think there are much better Westerns out there. I would give The Magnificent Seven 2 hours lost. I just don't think it's a movie I'm ever gonna watch again. And that's a shame because it did have some really good actors in it. And that's really another problem I have with the movie. Ethan Hawke, another fantastic actor, but I just didn't really care about him in this movie. Okay, the last movie we're gonna talk about is Imperium, starring Daniel Radcliffe, who continues to impress me post Harry Potter. He is a fantastic actor and he is the best part of this movie. First off, this is a true story, really interesting about an FBI agent who has to go undercover in the Aryan race. That alone is a completely crazy and scary proposition. As I was watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, there is no way I would ever put myself in this situation, just how dangerous it is. And I found Radcliffe's performance riveting because he's not really a badass, a tough guy. He's really an interesting character. He's really introverted. He kind of fits the prototype of an Aryan race member, so that's why his character was perfect for that infiltration. And I thought he did a great job handling all those emotional beats throughout. And also Toni Collette continues to impress. Thought she was great. My biggest issue with Imperium is really the direction. It's not bad, it's kind of right down the middle. If you take a movie with similar subject matter like American History X, that film I think is so much better just because of the way it was directed. You know, you had the tonal shifts of black and white and then color. And there was really a complete character arc with Edward Norton, who was just the worst nightmare at the beginning of the movie. And then by the end, you know, he redeems himself. Whereas Imperium, I didn't really get that. I really would have been more interested had a top tier director gotten a hold of this material. So in the end, I would give Imperium a humdrum. All right, guys, post below what you thought of these 4 movies. Looking forward to hearing your opinions. Also, be sure to become a member of my Killer Flicks page where we're talking horror all day, every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for All Fridays where we talk all genres. Also, if you look down below, you can see all my social media links, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and be sure to check out my Patreon. If you like what you see, be sure to click that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, Drumdum out.